What's up, everyone? What's going on? What's going on? Let me see if my mic is. Yep, everything's working. What up, everyone? Let's wait for a couple people to get in the room. How's everybody doing? Sorry for the flip flop of topics. I felt this one was very, very important because we've been talking about a lot about the airlines going out of business and stuff. So I decided to switch topics and talk about this because this was pretty important. Um, right now, as far as traveling, it's gonna get a little bit crazy. Excuse me for a second, guys. Let me switch over to the comment section. Yeah, traveling is gonna get a little bit crazy. There is a crisis going on, especially what's going on in this whole unnecessary war with Iran. Um, things are gonna get a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, to be honest with you. Um, as you can see in the thumbnail, another airline bit the bullet. It's a smaller airline that's out in the Caribbean, and we're gonna hit that up first. Plus a few other little items that came up. So you know, traveling's gonna be a little bit off second until we get president that gets his act together and we can freaking actually go out and do stuff, get things done, and get things right. Because apparently we're not getting that right now. It's just crazy right now. So let me pop this video. Uh, Forgive me, it's going to be in a different language. I think this is Creole or whatever. This is an airline that went out of business recently, and I'll let you just go see this one. Just
Air Antilles, the airline that doesn't fly.
J'ai un bif avec Air Antilles Express. Si vous pouvez nager, si vous avez un canoë-kayak, prenez, mais ne prenez pas Air Antilles Express.
Oubliez qu'en pleine crise sociale, alors que de nombreuses familles à Saint-Martin peinent à payer leurs factures d'électricité, à remplir leur frigo ou simplement à se faire soigner, que plus de 20 millions d'euros d'argent public ont été injectés pour tenter de sauver Air Antilles. Une compagnie aérienne au bord du gouffre, sous perfusion depuis des mois, et qui vient de basculer sur une licence temporaire d'exploitation.
De retour de Saint-Martin, on arrive en Guadeloupe, où la porte de l'avion s'ouvre brutalement à l'atterrissage. Économiquement parlant, cette compagnie-là n'a pas une assise financière suffisante pour lui permettre de transporter des voyageurs. On est dans le ciel quand même, on n'a pas envie d'aller près du bon Dieu trop tôt.
Air Antilles, Air Antilles, Air Antilles, Air Antilles,
Air Antilles, Air Antilles Express.
Air Antilles was originally launched as Air Antilles Express on December 18, 2002, with a clear mission: connect the French Caribbean. Over time, it positioned itself as a key regional carrier linking Guadeloupe, Martinique, Saint-Barth, and Saint-Martin. This is not Europe, where you can just drive to the next city. In the French Caribbean, planes are part of basic mobility. And in some cases, this is how patients access medical care. So when a regional airline fails, it's not just a transport problem. It becomes a social problem, an economic problem, and a political problem. Because this story is bigger than one small airline having a bad month. The record
Oops, sorry, I forgot I had my mic muted. This airline had a lot of problems, including cockroaches on the plane. Yeah, so it was not a great airline. So uh, it just had a whole host of problems. And when you're going to see one of the problems later on.
Controversy is that this specific airline was presented as something close to a public necessity. It was not sold to the population like just another private airline company trying to make a profit. It was presented as part of a wider mission.
C'était dans l'ADN dès le début, dès le lancement de cette aventure, puisque c'était un engagement fort souhaité par les actionnaires, la collectivité de Saint-Martin en priorité, et puis naturellement le groupe EDIS, de pouvoir faire naître cette compagnie en la mettant au service du déplacement et des déplacements des Antillais sur l'ensemble des îles des Antilles.
Il ne s'agit pas de rester uniquement sur Pointe-à-Pitre, Fort-de-France et Saint-Barthélemy. Il faut assurer ce qu'on appelle la connectivité caribéenne, c'est-à-dire ouvrir cette compagnie sur les lignes caribéennes, assurer la desserte dans la région. Il y a la possibilité, moi aujourd'hui je suis membre de l'ORICO, donc Organisation des États de la Caraïbe, et le directeur général m'a confirmé qu'on aura l'appui de cette instance politique pour que justement cette compagnie puisse travailler sans difficulté dans la zone.
After the earlier liquidation and the relaunch in 2024, the message coming from management and public officials was clear. This was supposed to be a fresh start. The company pushed a new image, new management, new strategies, new punctuality promises, a better service.
Nous savions que faire voler Air Antilles, faire voler la marque Air Antilles nécessitait que l'on...
Yeah, and this is pretty sad because this airline is kind of more of a necessity for the islands and stuff. It just went to crap, and I'm kind of putting this out there, and I apologize for the different languages and stuff, and you have to read this stuff, read the translation. But this is kind of important because now people are tooling their money to rebring spirit, and you have to be careful with that because you can end up in this kind of the same operational issues that this company is going through. So let me just continue.
Contre-pied du sentiment qu'avaient pu avoir certains passagers par le passé. Donc nous avons insisté sur la qualité des opérations, la qualité de notre service et surtout sur la ponctualité 1 heure en retard. C'est un enjeu extrêmement important. Pareil, lorsque vous avez un rendez-vous médical, si vous avez besoin de voyager de Saint-Martin à Pointe-à-Pitre pour un rendez-vous médical au CHU ou dans une autre institution médicale, vous avez un rendez-vous, vous devez vous assurer que vous puissiez être à l'heure. C'est donc un enjeu majeur du déplacement entre nos îles pour les populations.
They talk about fighting the monopoly of Air Caraïbes and lowering prices through competition. They even introduce offers. The whole message was, this is a new company and this time it will work. And that is where the money comes in. One of the most controversial part of the Air Antilles story is the skill of public support used to keep it alive.
At that time, now it's more. It was some 17 point.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Public support, which I'm trying to do with Spirit. Which I understand what y'all going through, but you gotta be careful. You really have to be careful with that because look what's going on with this particular airline, and they just went. They had to close its doors.
€5 million that have been invested. Actually, it's not even invested because that's what is said, but most of that money was borrowed, was considered as a loan or as loans to the company. And so once the company goes down, goes underwater, that money is lost. And today we are somewhere like €19 million that are going under the water. So taxpayers' money.
There was even a message to the population that stated that since public funds had been mobilized for this company, people were in a way indirect stakeholders, shareholders.
Donc ce que je souhaite, c'est que ça se renforce et surtout qu'ils prennent Air Antilles, d'accord? Parce que en prenant Air Antilles, il apporte les garanties nécessaires à la survie de la compagnie, qui est une compagnie saint-martinoise, qui est une compagnie guadeloupéenne. Donc nous devons apporter notre contribution à la pérennité de ces sociétés saint-martinoises et guadeloupéennes tout à la fois. Et je profite de votre antenne pour lancer cet appel pour dire à la population, nous avons mobilisé vos fonds, donc vous êtes des actionnaires directs de cette société, donc n'hésitez pas à soutenir votre société. Et le meilleur moyen de soutenir votre société, c'est de voyager régulièrement avec la compagnie Air Antilles.
That was
And that's what you guys are trying to do with Spirit. You got to be careful, because this is probably what's going to happen with Spirit if you try to do what they're trying to do. And they closed their doors this week. But actually, they started the liquidation about three or 4 months ago.
Powerful message, also a dangerous one. Because telling the public to support an airline because public money is already in only works if the airline can actually perform. If it cannot, well, then the population feel trapped twice. First as passengers, second as taxpayers. And what makes the story even more shocking is that Air Antilles was not completely inactive.
2025, Air Antilles avait pourtant transporté plus de 121 000 passagers et réalisé près de 18 millions d'euros de chiffre d'affaires.
Now, I'm going to show you, this happened about 2 years ago with Air Antilles, and you explain this to me. How does a whole plane hit a parked helicopter?
Today, there was another round of warnings about the dire consequences.
Yeah, and that's another issue, dude. Y'all got to stop wearing these bonnets, bro. Stop being part of the bonnet crew. That's got to stop. But that's what I'm saying. You really got to be careful with this whole Spirit thing. Not to say I hate Spirit. I never flown on Spirit. But when you got public money going into something, it's not so much as the public money. It's the way this thing's going to operate that's going to make or break it. And after that, just be careful.
Oil market if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed for much longer. From analysts at JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, the latter reportedly said in a note that its oil market is in a race against time, and that in the worst case scenario where the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, global oil could hit $150 a barrel this summer. And as the strait remains at a standstill, the latest travel method at risk.
$150 barrel of oil, that's going to probably be like $6 a gallon of gas, maybe $7 just for your car.
Because of skyrocketing jet fuel prices, could be short haul flights. They're often a summer staple, typically under 3 hours, inexpensive and popular for European vacations. But like budget airlines struggling to stay afloat, those city hopping flights could disappear. Tonight in our Prime Focus, our Maggie Ruley spoke with travel experts about how this uncertain travel future could impact you.
It's the foundation of the modern European summer. Easy cross-border travel, often cheaper than taking a train, with flights between major cities sometimes under 2 hours. But that high-frequency model depends heavily on one unstable input: fuel.
Don't cancel my flight to Europe. Do not cancel my flight to Europe, whatever y'all do.
Travelers are now facing sudden cancellations, fewer options, tighter schedules, and higher prices.
I am a college student. For the past 3 years, I have been saving up my money to go on a good international trip. So when the opportunity came to go see Bad Bunny in London, I said, why not?
After booking her flight in December 2025, Angeline says she received this email canceling her summer flight in April due to an extraordinary surge in oil prices, followed by unpredictable fuel supply shortage constraints across the aviation industry.
Yeah, but they're going to jack your prices up anyway. And then there's going to be some more bad news about this situation, guys, that you're not going to like.
Summer trip now caught up in diplomatic turmoil. The Strait of Hormuz has been in a chokehold since the start of the Iran war last month. Roughly 20% of global oil supply normally passes through the strait, and while oil prices don't directly translate to jet fuel overnight, they typically move in tandem within days to weeks.
Not since the 1970s, when there was the initial Arab oil embargo, have we seen anything like this.
Jet fuel makes up a quarter to nearly a third of airline operating costs, meaning even a $10 to $15 per barrel increase in oil can have a huge impact. So when an airline is hit with this rising cost of jet fuel, how do they pass it to consumers, to their customers?
They're going to charge more for checked bag fees. They may charge more for food and beverage on the plane, seat reservations, anything and everything they can possibly do. I was looking at a flight to London initially before the war began. This fuel surcharge was around $300. Last time I checked, it was around $1,000.
Wow.
And something we as customers need to be prepared for is that if airlines see we are willing to pay higher fares, they're going to keep the fares at or very close to where they are now.
And that's the bad news. So even when this war is over and things get back to normal, are they going to drop those prices? Nope. Because they're making money. You paid for it. So why are they going to drop it? They know you're willing to pay for it. So they're going to keep the prices where it's at, even when they get the fuel back, everything flowing again. That's the little scam that they're going to be doing. So they make money. We're still going to be busted, broke, That's why traveling is in a crisis.
The most popular routes are often under 2 hours and have dozens of flights every day from places like Rome to Madrid, London to Dublin, and Barcelona to Rome. But these routes don't bring in nearly as much money as long-haul flights. Popular routes like London to New York, LA, and Dubai can generate 2 to 4 times more revenue per seat, making them more resilient to fuel shocks.
But the thing about it is those short routes are connected. So it's like if you're going to, like, say, Koh Samui in Thailand, you got to fly into Bangkok and then take one of those short flights over to Koh Samui. So it's that short flight, which is going to your final destination, is the one that's going to affect you. That's where the problem comes in.
And budget airlines, which help drive European fares down by as much as 30 to 40% over the past 2 decades.
Easy Air and Ryan are like the cheapest airfare. There's our version of Spirit. They're cheap, and those I heard are really good airlines over in Europe. They're going to get affected. So people traveling across Europe, they're going to have problems. And those airlines, let me tell you, they're really, really good. And a lot of people jump on those flights just to go to different places in Europe. And they're now going to get affected.
Particularly exposed. Ryanair announcing it will close its base in Berlin and reduce its flights to and from the city by 50% this coming winter due to higher fees and taxes. And now America's most recognizable budget airline, Spirit, is ceasing operations due to higher fuel costs after a $500 million rescue deal from the Trump administration fell apart. Its last flight landed in Dallas, stranding passengers paying hundreds more out of pocket just to get home.
And let me tell you the reason why is because the Trump administration was going to give them that bailout on a condition they want 90% of the company so they can use for military flights. And Spirit said, no, we're not doing that.
Have any money. We had to pay $1,600 for the flight for today, but we had to call someone to help us because we couldn't afford it.
In a statement, Spirit said they will automatically process refunds for any flights purchased through Spirit with a credit or debit card to the original form of payment.
If we end up losing these budget airlines, if the price of airline tickets is just going up and up, do you see a world now where travel is fundamentally changed by this, that people start not flying and maybe doing more rail journeys or car trips?
I don't think we'll see all the budget airlines disappear. What concerns me is that if we lose several budget airlines, we lose the price leaders. There is a possible scenario that without budget airlines, flying goes back to being really for the upper middle class and wealthier people.
That's going to suck. That's going to really suck. So guess what? All the e-beggars, gone, which is probably a good thing. But for us regular folks that, scrape up that money to travel and get these low budget flights and stuff like that, yeah, we're going to have problems.
Henry says with a problem this widespread, there's no quick fix. The jet fuel shortage will linger for several months, if not longer. For 20-year-old pre-med student Angeline, she's still hoping to see Bad Bunny this June, but on a different and more expensive airline. As a college student, it's a hard pill to swallow. The price of her ticket has gone up, and she has to pay to reschedule her connecting trains.
I kind of just felt overall like frustrated, disappointed because I've been seeing like the news and like I'm not like this is not something that I voted for at all. It's like something that I was like really looking forward to just like 1 week to have a vacation and have that Euro summer, and now it's like okay, now I have to cancel that and I won't probably get my full refund on that too.
If fuel volatility becomes a reoccurring feature tied to geopolitical pressure in regions like the Strait of Hormuz, experts say Europe's aviation model could gradually restructure. Instead of multi-city weekend hopping, travelers may move toward longer stays in fewer destinations, increased reliance on high-speed rail, and less spontaneous last-minute air travel between countries. But Henry says not to panic just yet.
Just like I told you guys, geopolitics is going to dictate traveling. And you need to pay attention to that. I've always said that.
We've read these sort of terror headlines where it says Europe could run out of jet fuel in the next 6 weeks. Is that real?
Europe will not completely run out of jet fuel, however, and they are looking at importing jet fuel potentially from Nigeria, potentially from the US, and potentially from other sources.
Do you have any tips for Americans that are trying to book their summer travel, want to come to Europe, and are worried about these flights?
If you find a fare that fits your schedule, the fare fits your budget, and you like or can at least tolerate the airline, book the fare.
A new Republican bill may make it easier for the federal government to revoke or refuse a passport to U.S. citizens who voice opinions opposing the U.S. government or the White House stance on issues like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The bill, introduced by Republican Florida lawmaker Brian Mast, is being debated on Capitol Hill today, but
I'm sorry. I had to stop that because I got a fly running around here. Anyway, this is kind of old, but here's the thing with this. There is a guy, black guy, firefighter named Bernard Taylor, who's running up against him. Bernard Taylor for Congress, if you could donate to his cause. He's a grassroots. He's doing pretty well right now. We're trying to get rid of Brian Mast because Brian Mast is a piece of you-know-what, but continue.
civil rights groups pointed out the bill gives Marco Rubio and the State Department unilateral authority to revoke passports from U.S. citizens, goes against the First Amendment right of freedom of speech and the 14th Amendment's guarantee of due process. The passport section has been removed for now. The passport section focuses on anyone convicted of assisting terrorist groups, but also anyone considered to be providing material support, something advocates say could be in the form of protest, boycotts, or protected speech. Now, Mast has amended the bill to remove the passport provision, but that still needs committee approval before it's removed.
Your passport is valid. Your flight is booked. But at immigration, you're pulled aside. No entry, no explanation. Across Europe, Asia, and Latin America, some U.S. passports are being flagged, scanned twice, and even denied. It's not a system error. It's deliberate. Stick with me because what's triggering these blocks might be hiding in your digital life. Eight, behavior pattern watch lists from AI border systems. You're calm.
Okay, this video I put out there for a reason. Y'all may want to really pay attention to this. Because a lot of you guys are traveling to certain countries. Y'all want to pay attention to this really, really good.
Passport is valid, but your travel path raises a digital red flag. AI now tracks your routes, ticket patterns, and transit behavior globally. In 2025, dozens of countries have adopted border AI that cross-references your travel history, flight frequency, and entry behavior. If you book frequent one-ways, hop borders quickly, or switch SIM cards too often, your passport may be auto-flagged for secondary screening or soft denial. One traveler was denied entry into Singapore after landing from Istanbul, despite having no criminal record. Your travel pattern matches known smuggling profiles, said the officer. No crime, no proof, just pattern. Even U.S. frequent flyers are being surprised, flagged for suspicious behavior just for booking solo tickets or spending too little time in country. Your intent.
And that's also going for people, they got programs and profiles set up in these AI systems that'll determine who's doing what, like trafficking and stuff like that. So this so-called going down to Colombia, with the, yeah, you're being profiled for that.
doesn't matter. The AI decides your risk level before you reach customs. What's worse, these systems are synced across borders. So a soft flag in Singapore could lead to interrogation in Frankfurt weeks later. And you'll never know what triggered it, only that your passport is now watched. Still think you're safe? The next reason involves
And I know which agency is watching this. Not DHS. It's another agency that's global, that's flagging passports and monitoring your stuff. That's something you guys don't know about. That's why when you go constantly going back and forth these countries, people are watching you. They're watching your passport and they're watching your behaviors, and they're using AI to computate all that stuff. Right, wrong, or indifferent. If it pops up something, fishy, you're going to get your butt pulled. Or you may just get banned from coming in the country.
you posted years ago, and it's getting Americans banned without warning. 7. Social media posts are being scraped for security risk behavior. An old post, a sarcastic tweet, a photo from a controversial region. That's all it takes for your passport to get flagged.
Yep. Remember with your Capo and all that stuff, and all these other passport bros that's going down to Colombia? That's what's happening. And that's being put because a lot of people don't know what's being typed in the records and stuff in the back room when you're getting deported. You don't know what's on these deportation records.
25, border agencies in countries like Turkey, UAE, China, and even France are using AI tools to scrape public social media accounts linked to.
So a border run might be hit up hard. I don't know how the border runs are done in Thailand. For me, I just don't know, man. I just don't know how. Thailand is weird with that stuff. I don't know how that thing's gonna go, but salute my brother. How you doing?
Digital identity. If you posted about visiting conflict zones, shared political memes, or criticized local governments, even years ago, it could come back to haunt you. One U.S. traveler was denied entry to the UAE after officials referenced her 3-year-old Instagram story supporting LGBT rights. Another was pulled aside in India after tweeting sarcastically about airport security in Tel Aviv. We reserve the right to deny entry to any individual who displays destabilizing political behavior, read the rejection notice. Even likes and retweets.
Exactly. That's a rejection notice. You don't know what they're putting on these deportation orders. And like I said, this is not only going back to your home country. This is something that's going to be on your. It's another agency that's monitoring this up, and and this is a global agency. So y'all need to really be careful about where y'all traveling to and how often y'all traveling to this country. It's one thing you say, "Hey, I got a home." What's up, Process? How you doing, brother? It's one thing to say, hey, I traveled to this country because I have a retirement home here, but all y'all going back to Colombia and all this other stuff and just for pay for play and stuff, you don't think these guys are watching? You don't think these guys taking notes? They're all taking notes. And all this is run through AI. So some of this stuff can be mistakes, but they don't care. You got to go through a song and dance just to try to, convince them that, yeah, you're there for other reasons other than pay for play.
Are sometimes used as indirect expressions of intent. And the scary part, you won't know what triggered it. These decisions are made by back-end systems tied to visa databases and cloud-based risk assessment tools. And yes, deleting posts won't always help. Many governments archive snapshots of digital profiles for repeat travelers. So before you post that hot take or border selfie, remember customs might already be watching. The next reason is even more chilling. It's tied to your unpaid taxes. 6. IRS debts over $59,000. Now trigger passport restrictions abroad. You're halfway through your trip. Then, at a connecting airport, you're told your passport is invalid for travel. Why? Because the IRS flagged it. Since 2018, the U.S. government has enforced a rule that allows the IRS to restrict or revoke passports for Americans who owe over $59,000 in delinquent taxes. But in 2025, that policy has evolved. Foreign immigration systems can now recognize those flagged documents in real time. That means if you're on a restricted travel list and attempt to enter a country with shared intel, like Canada, the UK, or Japan, you could be stopped at the border.
Exactly. Once it's on the internet, it is forever. And a lot of people put a lot of stuff on there. And I'm guilty for some things, but a lot of y'all go to places that, like I said, it's going to raise some flags.
One businessman was turned around at Heathrow after a pop-up alert flagged his passport for IRS resolution pending. "No one warned me. I'd paid part of the debt already," he told CBS. And here's the catch. Passport restrictions can remain in place for months, even after partial payments. Many Americans find out only when they're already abroad, when re-entry or onward travel is suddenly blocked. If your tax debt matches the threshold, your passport isn't fully yours anymore. Stick with me, because next we're diving into how international warrants from other countries are flagging.
Also, you never owned the passport. The passport is not yours. It's actually still the federal government. It's still just saying that, hey, we're just giving you this book so you can go overseas and stuff like that. Just let them know that, hey, you belong to us. But that book is not yours. A college political science teacher said that back in the 90s to my class. Yeah.
U.S. citizens, even if they have done nothing wrong. 5. International warrants can flag you, even without a U.S. crime. You've never been arrested, no pending charges, but an old business trip abroad just triggered a border alert in Europe. That's because Interpol red notices are now automatically synced with U.S. passport checks overseas. In 2025, countries like Spain, Germany, and South Korea began tightening cooperation with Interpol's digital alert system. This means if a country, even one you've only transited through, files a claim or opens a foreign investigation involving your name, your passport could be flagged. One man was detained in Amsterdam for an alleged customs violation in Argentina, even though the case was dismissed locally. Another American woman was flagged in Morocco due to a former employer listing her on a fraud investigation in Dubai. She was never contacted in the U.S., but her passport had already been linked. I'm
going to tell you a story. This happened to one of my classmates in college in Israel. She was traveling from an internship in Europe, and she had to go through Russia. When she stopped off in Russia, her passport got flagged in Russia. They pulled her over and asked her a whole bunch of questions, and she answered them, and everything was fine. So Russia continued on her trip. She continued on her trip. When she got to Tel Aviv, they said, "Nah, you can't come in," because she got stopped in Russia. So they sent her back home to India. So the Indian embassy got involved and stuff like that, and then they allowed her to come back in. But that caused a political, what. But that's just to show you, because of a stop and you got talked about, you got pulled over by immigration. Yeah, that passport is flagged. And that's even the same thing for you guys going to Colombia and stuff. You getting pulled over and stuff for some reason, that passport can get flagged, and that can cause problems wherever you go.
Alerts. The burden of proof comes later, said a border agent in Lisbon. The scary part? You often won't know anything is wrong until you're already abroad. Even if you're cleared eventually, the initial detainment can mean missed flights, denied visas, or weeks of red tape. And now, with digital legal networks expanding, a single name match may be all it takes. Coming up next, a rule that's targeting dual citizens with split allegiances without their consent. 4. Dual citizens are being flagged for allegiance conflicts. You were born in the US, but your parents weren't. And in 2025, that alone could get your passport flagged under citizenship mismatch protocols. Several countries, including China, Israel, Russia, and Iran, do not recognize dual citizenship. That means when you enter on a US passport but their records still list you as their citizen, you can be treated as a domestic traveler, stripped of US consular protections. One dual US-Iranian traveler was detained in Tehran after officials claimed he failed to report for mandatory military service. His U.S. passport temporarily confiscated. Another U.S.-Chinese student was barred from leaving mainland China due to a family registry conflict filed decades ago. The U.S. State Department warns, in countries where dual citizenship is not recognized, U.S. citizens may be treated solely as nationals of that country. This means if you're detained, interrogated, or even drafted, you're on your own. You may not even know you're listed as a citizen of that country. Old birth records, family names, or residency histories can trigger it. It's not about...
Yep. That happened with a bunch of guys that had dual citizenship, Canadian and China, and they were smuggling that sugar bugger. They all got, we know the penalties for smuggling that sugar bugger into China. Yeah, that's the D penalty, and they got it because they don't recognize dual citizenship.
You live now, it's about where your paperwork lives and who claims you on it. Next, we look at how your past travel to sanctioned nations can shadow you forever. Past travel to sanctioned countries leaves a permanent digital trail. You took a trip to Cuba in 2019, or maybe Iran in 2021. You followed all the rules, or so you thought. But now, in 2025, your passport is being flagged because of it. Governments worldwide, especially in the EU, Middle East, and East Asia, have adopted stricter screening for travelers who have previously visited blacklisted or sanctioned countries. Even if you entered legally, your passport's digital chip stores exit entry logs that sync with newer airport databases. One American returning from Italy was pulled aside in Germany after his passport pinged an old stamp from Syria. He wasn't denied entry, but he was interrogated for 3 hours and placed on an increased surveillance list. Even erased passport stamps can still appear on digital logs, says a former border tech consultant. Sanctioned countries in 2025 include North Korea, Iran, Cuba, Syria, Belarus, and select Russian provinces. And if you've traveled to any of them, you may be considered a risk, not just in that country, but in countries that oppose it. Worse still.
Yeah, even if you like go visit Syria or Lebanon, you can't go into Israel. They will ban you straight up. You really got to be careful of your travels. There's places I have to really be careful of my travels. Even right now that I have that sticker from being a student in Israel, I can't go to Kuwait. I may never even have to go to Kuwait, even if I change my passport. I can't, because Kuwait has banned anybody who's have a visa or been to Israel. So Kuwait is one of those places I can't go.
Some alliances, like the Five Eyes nations, share these logs automatically. So even if your passport is clean on paper, it's...
Let me shoot back a little bit. I want to explain something to you guys.
Returning from Italy was pulled aside in Germany after his passport pinged an old stamp from Syria. He wasn't denied entry, but he was interrogated for 3 hours and placed on an increased surveillance list. Even erased passport stamps can still appear on digital logs, says a former border tech consultant. Sanctioned...
Read this real quick. You can go to Israel after visiting Lebanon. You, however, can't go to Lebanon after visiting Israel with a stamp on your passport. Oh, so that's what it is. Okay. I want to explain something.
Countries in 2025 include North Korea, Iran, Cuba, Syria, Belarus, and select Russian provinces. And if you've traveled to any of them, you may be considered a risk, not just in that country, but in countries that oppose it. Worse still, some alliances, like the Five Eyes nations...
Okay, you see these flags? These are the Five Eyes. Let me explain what the Five Eyes are. The Five Eyes are countries that share intel no matter what. They don't have to go through any paperwork or any type of background check and stuff. And you can see these are the Five Eyes nations. Just so I don't screw it up. You got the United States, Canada, the UK. I believe one of these flags is Australia and New Zealand. Okay, those are the Five Eyes nations. Those are true allies, not this whole Israel's our greatest allies, because Israel will never be part of the Five Eyes because they don't trust Israel, because Israel sell out people. But these are the Five Eyes nations. They sell any intelligence they got on any foreign adversaries, they freely give that information, no ifs, ands, or buts. Everybody else, they got to kind of vet through, like Israel and stuff like that. They don't freely give intel and stuff like that. I trained with those guys when I was in the military, some of their forces. The Five Eye guys, they're cool guys, to be actually tell you the truth. But these are the Five Eyes, what they was talking about. So I wanted to explain that to you guys so you won't get confused. Yeah, some of these guys think it's funny to travel to these places, then they get detained in the other because of it. Yeah, it's true. They think it's funny. Yeah. You don't think they're monitoring Colombia? Thinking about the S trafficking and all that stuff. Y'all constantly going back and forth over there to Medellin left and right. You don't think they're flagging those things? You don't think it's in their system? And these guys getting deported back to the U.S. You don't know what the Colombian government's putting on their deportation orders. Y'all don't see it. So what do you think Homeland Security is saying about them? What do they have on them? They probably got a file on these dudes that's getting deported back to the United States from Colombia, saying that they're S trafficking or whatever. because they came with all these butt plugs and all this other stupidness and stuff. That's why I say you guys got to be careful. You got to be smarter travelers. And constantly going to these other countries and stuff that's known for, those type of things and stuff like that. Y'all can say it's S tourism, but S tourism and S trafficking kind of go hand in hand. That's what y'all don't look at. So that's why when you go to these countries, you got to be careful, because there's operations dealing with that stuff right now.
These logs automatically, so even if your passport is clean on paper, its chip may still tell a very different story. Next up is the most personal and painful reason yet. 2. Family surveillance flags trigger delays and denials. You've never broken the law, but your cousin has. Or your brother was once investigated, and now your passport is under silent watch. In 2025, multiple governments, including Canada, Israel, Australia, and the UAE, have adopted familial security profiling, a controversial method where you can be flagged based on the actions or affiliations of close relatives. Even if those relatives live in another country, even if you haven't spoken in years, your biometric ID may be linked by genealogy tracing or visa application data. One U.S. student was denied entry into Tel Aviv because her uncle had appeared in a pro-Palestinian database years earlier. Another traveler was delayed in Abu Dhabi because his surname matched a person of interest in a terrorism investigation, despite no biological relation. According to a leaked internal memo, relational analysis is a key step in pre-clearance risk scoring.
And also the no-fly list got a whole bunch of names that shouldn't be on it, and you can get flagged for that too. I had a friend of mine, he couldn't fly because his name was on a no-fly list, and they related him. And it wasn't even like some Muslim name or anything like that. It was just a regular name. The dude was Jewish, and it was just crazy. Yeah. Me, some of that I have to worry about because I lived in Israel, so I can't go to certain countries because I'm probably going to get flagged. So I have to be careful of my travels. But that's the problem with me. I can't go like Kuwait because I get flagged because I have a Israeli student visa on my passport, and I've been to Israel like multiple times because I went to school there. So I'm screwed. And if you got any other countries that's banned in that, I'm going to get flagged.
Name, hometown, or digital trail overlaps with a red-flagged individual, you may be asked to explain it or prove you're not related. This raises a terrifying question. What if you're being watched because of someone else? And now, coming up next, is the single most dangerous reason of all. It's happening inside the US, and most Americans don't even know it's legal. 1. Secret US watch lists are silently flagging passports abroad. You're not a criminal, you've never been convicted, but somehow your name is on a list, and now your passport is triggering alerts in countries you've never even visited. In 2025, thousands of Americans are unknowingly listed in terrorist screening databases, silent hit lists, or enhanced border watch registries, often with no formal notification. These lists are shared with foreign governments, airlines, and private security firms under post-9/11 data agreements, still active today. What does that mean for you? It means your passport could trigger secondary inspection, interrogation, delayed entry, or even visa denial in over 40 countries, and you might never know why. One teacher from New Jersey was stopped at an airport in Madrid, then told he could not enter due to U.S. security markers. When he contacted the U.S. Embassy, they simply responded, "We cannot confirm or deny your presence on any list." Even simple connections, attending the wrong fundraiser, following a flagged account, or sharing a device with someone under investigation, can place your passport under suspicious status. The worst part? There's no formal appeal process. You're not notified. You're not charged. But the flag remains. So, and it follows your passport worldwide. Be trusted. Your US passport may open borders, but it may also trigger hidden systems you never see. Subscribe now for critical updates, untold travel alerts, and real security briefings every traveler needs. Stay informed, stay ahead, and protect your freedom to move.
Yeah, I dropped the link if anybody wants to come up and we can have a chat about this. But yeah, this is a problem. I'm gonna add something because I want to show you guys.
We continue our Phoenix area tour with
real quick. Where is it? Hey, what's going on, player? Just missed a good video. I want to show you this real quick.
121.739er Hotel.
See all those planes parked? This is Phoenix Goodyear Airport, which is one of the local airports.
Let's cross
Alpha over to the east at this location.
Golf 5, cross X2 Alpha.
This is not a
Golf 5
major
crossing
airport.
Taxi Alpha.
Our major airport
Golf
is
6,
Skyhopper.
sorry, Golf 15 also
And
cross
we have
X2
a
Alpha.
couple of
Golf 15
small
crossing
airports
Taxi
and
Alpha.
regionals. The reason
Ground
I'm
Golf
showing
5
you
is clear.
this is
Here.
because
And he wanted to make sure we passed
look at
on
the
some
planes that are
important
parked
tips to you guys. One, study the checkpoints and areas on the charts. You'll definitely need them. Number two,
that's Spirit. Spirit doesn't fly out of this airport. That's Allegiance.
call early, not late, which is what we found out today. Typically, you'd like to call tower 10 miles out, but he recommends calling.
We'll set up a little bit more.
Have 100. I was trying to see if that was a jet up there. They said they have 150 daily flights from Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
And they're not all jets, but there's a good amount of them that are.
Yes. So we're hoping F-35s, F-18s, I don't care. Even KC-135s, let's see them all. That would be so cool. And even better if we got to see like a B-1 or a B-2. Oh my God, that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
But you guys can hear behind us, I mean, it's constant. It doesn't slow down here. But we're excited to be here, so we're gonna go check out all that stuff.
Ramp is a nice touch though.
Well, basically what I was trying to show you, I just forgot where exactly it's at. I'm trying to look for it. Like all these aircrafts you see over here, they're just parked. This is what's happening to your aircrafts that are not flying. And this is just one of the areas. There's another one down in Tucson, and I know there's another one in New Mexico. This is what's happening to your flights now. When they cut back flights, these planes get parked in these low areas. This is what's going on. Yeah, I dropped the link. I'll drop it again. If you guys want to come up and chit chat. Yeah, the fares are getting higher, man. I don't know where it's at right now. Yeah, man, you really got to be careful right now with traveling because you're being monitored. Even like the new technology that's out in the airports, like the facial scans and stuff, you really got to think about, what information is being collected and all that. That's the new thing that's going on. That's the new thing that's going on. It's that people are getting scanned. You're getting facial scans right now. You're getting biological scans and stuff. That's why, yeah, and they got the most cameras, from what I understand. They have most cameras in their airports. So all that information and stuff, they asking why you guys are constantly coming to Medellin. If Medellin, here's the thing, guys, and this is what people don't understand. You don't think that mayor already kind of complained to the United States about you guys coming over to Medellin to do this, and that? They already know about that stuff. You don't think they got these systems set up for you guys? Oh God, 2,000 plus just for the airfare? Yeah, those 300s, they're gonna try to keep those going. But that 2,000, damn, that is pricey. I even saw a pricey in Europe process that I'm seeing the airfares go up to like $600-700, almost. No, actually $800-900 for Europe. Certain places in Europe that used to be about 5 or 6. Now they're doing 8, 9. It's getting crazy, guys, with the airfares and stuff. So, but like I said, I dropped the link. If anybody wants to come up, I'll drop it again. It's just, this is the crisis we're going to go through. And like the guy said earlier, it's like this traveling is not only going to be for the upper middle class sooner or later. There's not going to be for like us regular Joes because it's getting pricey. Especially if you're trying to do international, it's really going to get pricey. So y'all really have to think about your traveling now, where you're going to go and all that stuff. You know, and then, you know, they're going through their screenings down in Colombia, you know, trying to pick out. I mean, I heard some guys, they don't have any problems going through, you know, immigration and stuff, but you got dudes that go down there, they're getting pulled left and right, and they're getting sent back for any little thing under the sun. So you have to think about that. So it's crazy right now with traveling. You know, what are we going to do? And especially this economy right now, there's no job growth. There's really no money flowing. All our money is getting tossed to another country so they can fight a war that's senseless and useless. And, you know, there's a lot of political stuff going on. Like I always told you, you know, geopolitics is going to dictate traveling. And it's always have. And this is the effect of it. This is all geopolitical. Because now it's like the Strait of Hormuz shouldn't have been blocked at all. There was nothing wrong with it, but you decided to go and invade a place that didn't bother you in the first place. Is because another country had a hard on to go after Iran for something that was a lie. They never had those boom booms at all. They wasn't even building those boom booms. They never did. Even your own intelligence assessment said that. And look what it's costing us. We're even out of munitions, dude. That's even more insane. And you want to go pick a fight with them? We don't even have the munitions anymore. We're like at 30% right now of our munitions. And they got a whole still 120% of their stockpile still active. And you want to go pick a war with them? It's crazy. And like I said, traveling is going to get very, very difficult. Now you got the travel authorizations you got to get before you leave. They got them in Europe now. They got them, well, right now they have it in England, but now you got to get them for Thailand. They start putting all these travel authorizations. Make sure you're able to even go to that country. And these are ones that are supposed to be visa free. We need a better government, not just the president, but Congress too, because they ain't no better. They ain't no better. And see, this is the stuff that's going to probably get me flagged for my travels. That's why this channel, I push Plan B big time. Go get yourself a residency card from another country, get a second citizenship if need be. That way you have options, bro. You have options. We got insider trading and guys who just want to get want to get rich themselves only. True. That is facts, bro. That ain't nothing but facts. But yeah, that's what I'm pushing right now is, finding that second country, though, dog. Good choice. It's off the grid. Uh-oh. Guess who's here? My brother from another mother. I'm going to be getting that Thailand the SRVT visa, whatever you call it. That's going to be next on my collection list.
It's for anybody that's looking for a second home that they can establish real quick. It's one of the easiest places, I think, being that it was a United States territory at one point. So why wouldn't the process be a little more accommodating? Plus, they serve in our military. They do a lot of things, government to government wise, and that's why even President Trump says we love Filipinos. We love Philippines. You get what I mean?
Yeah. And if it's easy to get that, I mean, go get it because it's worth it. Nowadays, that's the big thing right now. It's everybody's going to get like golden visas and second residencies and second citizenships. Be a little careful with the second citizenships though, but getting a second residency, like I have
residency visa is way better. Don't try to do some janky stuff in there. I'm not for. I love my country, and I know you do too. But I'm not trying to swear off the United States just for another country. I'm not doing that.
Oh yeah, I definitely hear you. Like I said, if I can get, like I said, I'm working on my getting permanent residency. I got my 3-year temporary from Mexico. Next is going to be permanent residency. Once I get that, then I'm going to do what any Patriot's doing. He's looking at going to Asuncion, which he's going there next month. He's going to check it out and see what's going on, and then give us a report back of what you're thinking of, how it is. Matter of fact, if you want to come on to the show, I'll do a show with you. You can talk about your experience over there, how you feel. I would love, that's going to be another easy one. Same with the Philippines. Grab those things just to have second residency. They're easy and it's not like it's expensive like you see from the other one. Like some of the other places, like you hear from
Thailand,
nomad capitalists and stuff like that. You got to spend $1 million or whatever. These are cheap.
Thailand. I think you got to have what 20 to 30,000 in the bank or something.
No, it was something like, I think the total when I looked at it for at least for me, the total came out to something like 3,000.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a little off of what the Philippines is doing for. Now, let me say this for y'all that are listening. SRRV is a special resident visa. A lot of it is set up for veterans. So you're over a certain age, you're service connected or whatever in the military, and you have the SSR or the SRRV where it's an advantage. If you're a civilian, the age did drop and some of the requirements are less. So I think in your 30s, mid 30s or 40s, you can qualify for the SRV. I forgot what the dollar amount is. It's a little more than what you're saying for Thailand.
Yeah.
But at least you're sponsoring yourself and you're not trying to get with a Filipina that you don't know or somebody to sponsor you in country. You're on your own. Meaning they can't kick you out if y'all break up type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So with that, will I be able to buy property?
No, that's one thing they will not exclude, just like in Thailand. You have to be married to a local or have some kind of agreement with a local for a 99-year lease or whatever the hell it is. But you can't physically own the land itself. You can own a home sitting on the land, but you can't own the land. Just like you can own a condo, you can literally lease the land and own the house. It has two titles. Title for the house, title for the land.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, guys, it's easier to do that. For me, like I said, being a vet and over the age of 50, I can go over there and get that, and that's going to be about $3,000 because I need 1,500 in the bank, and that whole process is going to run me about another 15. So that's easy peasy. Asuncion, Paraguay.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that's about the same amount. It's going to be about 3,000, somewhere in that area. So that's another easy, cheap one. And I kind of got into it with somebody about that because he was complaining. He was in the comments complaining. Well, that ain't cheap. Compared to some of these other countries, you got to get residency. You got to buy property and stuff, or investment about what, $250,000? Yeah, that's cheap. 3,000 is cheap. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 3,000 compared to 30, 40, 50K in a bank that has to sit there for you to be in that country is crazy.
Exactly. Even like the time visa, I think you got to put the lowest one for the 5-year one. I believe it's like, or the 10-year visa. I think you got to put like 15,000 in the bank and just let it sit there, or something like that.
Yeah, permanent resident visa, non-immigrant visa for 3+ consecutive years, and a minimum of 30 to 80K Thai baht monthly income. So, yeah, that's not much.
Yeah. Yeah, Malaysia's the only place.
I thought it was USD. Wealthy global citizen pensioner must hold at least USD 1 million in assets. What the fuck? Hell no. You ain't getting that from me in another country.
No,
I'm going to hold property like that. It better be in America.
Exactly. And you're talking Malaysia's the only place you can buy property. I mean, and you can. I'm not even knocking Malaysia. That's a good choice to even get citizenship if you can get property over there. But then again, look what you're spending in property.
Look, I don't mind being a global entrepreneur and all these things, import, exporter, looking at options of getting things done cheaper and exploiting the cost to sale ratio in the United States or United States citizens or whatever. But I'm not investing a shit ton of money in a whole nother country being an individual. If it's not my country itself, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and when you look at it in hindsight, when you have to buy property, that pretty much means you're gonna have to just adapt and deal with whatever BS that comes with it.
Yeah, and the rules can change. The hits can keep coming. They can change at any time, any place. You have no control over it. I think right now, what was going on when Trump came into office last year in January, April, sometime around there, he was kicking out a lot of Africans. Well, a lot of African nations started kicking out U.S. foreign nationals out of their countries that had businesses, had homes, and all this other shit. They were just literally saying, "Oh, we're confiscating all your shit. You got to go."
Yeah, that sucks. That totally sucks. So right now, it's like you really got to think about it. That's why I offer these cheap versions and stuff. Like, you're looking, I mean, you can say what you want to say about Paraguay, but if that's the cheapest way you can get residency and stuff, go for it.
Yeah, your boy, my boy, Style King Marco. That's his
Style
spot.
King. Yeah, he's getting his.
Yeah.
It's another option for him. That's great. Go for it. Whatever you can get a second options to get into another country, easy peasy, go for it. Just like I did Mexico. Mexico was easy. Now I just got to going through the processes. Now I got to go get the permanent one.
Right.
So,
and I think in Mexico you can own your own land too. Or my boy was married to a Mexican. Yeah, I think you can own your own land in Mexico too.
Yeah,
so.
you can own your own land, your own home, everything. The only thing is if you're 50 miles near the coastal line, it goes in a trust. But if you're like in a city like Mexico City and stuff like that, you own the house.
Yeah, my boy brought in Chihuahua, Mexico, of all places. But he met he was a Marine. We both knew each other. Our kids went to high school together. Well, actually, junior and high school together. And we just stayed friends, but he had a whole business, nice resort, like house on a gated, guarded lakefront community. Sold all that shit, moved to Chihuahua, Mexico.
Yeah.
And then built a custom built home down there. And now he's building in Texas too. It's like I said, if you're a veteran and you have service connections at 100%, buying in Texas should be a no-brainer. It's the only place in America, really, if you're a veteran or even a citizen, you really own your land. Because guess what? There's no property tax. So how can they take your land if they can't tax you out of it if you own it straight up?
Yeah.
They can't.
Even like, yeah, I mean, and then when you look at Mexico, Mexico, I did a comparison of $250,000 property. If you were to look at it in hindsight, when you got a mortgage and all that stuff, by the time you do the mortgage stuff with a $250,000 property in the United States, that HOA and taxes and all that other stuff, you have, after 30 years, you had just plugged in about what, $750,000 into that. Whereas in
that
Mexico,
HOA is a
that's
man. All I'm saying is there's better ways of spending your money. Go into an older developed area and revitalize a house that's already paid out their HOA, the school's already developed or whatever. Or go out in a rural area and buy land and build yourself. You ain't never have to worry about HOA. I'm not paying somebody else to tell me what I can and cannot do with my own goddamn property. I'm not doing that ever.
Yeah, but when you go to Mexico, it's a different story. One, the HOA is cheaper than you know what.
Right.
But by the time you're done with it, you only just added in another 100,000 on top of that. So when you look at the cost variant, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, even what I'm paying here is like less than a mortgage for a whole damn house in America, for my whole monthly budget, So yeah, there's always an advantage. Even when my lady's like, "Oh, well, that costs too much. It's too pricey." I'm like, "Pricey for who? You or me?" I say, you keep forgetting. I like her mindset. Believe me, I like her always saying it costs too much. It's too expensive. Okay, good. I'm glad you think like that. But nah, it's good. We can get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was like that with me and when I was in Israel and stuff, because my roommate was telling me what they charge for over here is expensive. I was like, yeah, this meal was like $19. That's expensive. No, it's not for me. And I'm over here getting cost of living increase because I was using my GI Bill and stuff. I was getting all that stuff, so it wasn't expensive for me. But I get what he was saying, because he said, you can get it cheaper.
Yeah, local perception versus a foreigner's perception is totally different.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I was even showing people during my budget, like the exchange rate at $3,000 a month in earned income. You are top 4 percentile of Filipinos. 3,000 only.
And
that's above our poverty line. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can make that.
Yeah. And what about 2,000?
Yeah, you were at on my chart. I think you're about 10 or 12%.
Wow.
Yeah, I went down as low as 1,500, I think, or 2,000 a month. 225 and 3,000 were the numbers I was running with. And then, depending on what your income is, you could double or triple that up. But yeah, anything above 3,000 to 4,000, you're 1 percentile, if not the top percentile in this country. They're only used to making anywhere between $300 to $500 a month. That's it.
Damn.
USD.
Damn. But see, the thing about it is, even though you're in that higher tax bracket, you don't want to splurge. You want to keep spending like if you're because you need that savings, because suppose you need to go back to the US, those tickets ain't
exactly cheap. Emergency situations, surgery, stuff like that. Things you have to think about that might have to come out of your pocket. Yes, you're going to get reimbursed depending on what kind of system you're in, but You need to have that initial cost outlay ready to go. Either it's on a card somewhere, you don't touch that card, it's just an emergency type of thing, or it's straight up, cash sitting in the bank you're waiting to use.
Exactly. That's why, when you guys looking at these YouTubers and stuff like that, some of them ain't got it like that, man. They're selling you a dream, man. Yeah, you can come out here and you can get this and you can live. Yeah, but how you spend your money and how you get your money is going to be one thing, because
that's key.
Yeah, because the original one I was going to do today was the death of digital nomads, because right now digital nomads they going broke, bro. Especially in this economy, they're going broke.
Well, I mean, contractors, since the pandemic, when the pandemic was at its high, obviously digital nomad was the thing. But now companies don't want to pay the overhead of having an office and nobody being in it.
Exactly.
And they got to have that office for legitimacy. They got to look like they're a stable company. So they got to fill it with employees. They can't afford to have you working somewhere remotely.
Oh, absolutely.
You better be pulling a lot of years of experience and a broad management in order for you to manage a team, somewhere in a whole nother part of the country, but you're so good at it, you can still control your people, whether you're right in front of them or somewhere else. And yeah, AI is doing a lot of that shit now. Claude Code is amazing. It's doing most of my AI animations right now, generations. I'm setting up a couple AI automated freaking YouTube channels right now, and some other ideas I have going on. So, that is constantly changing, and I've been studying that for the last year and a half, and there's always something new coming out.
Yeah, and right now I'm starting my cybersecurity consulting business.
Mm-hmm.
And I just came back from a business conference today, trying to drum some business up. That went well. I got one Thursday. I got to go to a meet and greet. Drum up some more business. That's
you got your K's code. Are you on the? I'm on
SAM.gov. Not only
you should be looking into like overseas bases that are opening up or revitalizing, like the Philippines here.
Mm-hmm. I'm
also in some other areas.
Yeah,
and so you can get in as a contractor for some of these installations needing cybersecurity and
yeah, I'm also on the UN global marketplace as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
Like I said, this shit is building big.
Yeah. All you need is a few contracts, man, and you're jumping from one contract location to another, just monitoring.
Yeah. Basically I just got to build up my credentials. Like I got to get the small businesses first, and then once I get a couple of small businesses first, then I can really shoot for like SAM.gov. Even though I'm registered with them, I'm good, but I have a portfolio to say, yeah, I've done this before with other companies.
Right.
So I can be a sub to a prime contractor. And once I get that, then I can start hitting the money real good. But like I said, that's why, a lot of these dudes talking about making money while traveling. I'm over here building a company and I'm going to be making bigger bucks. I can just stash that stuff away and still travel.
Right.
Yeah. Even if I do, UN marketplace and stuff like that and get gigs over there, I'm good. Some of those gigs, I'm gonna have to travel.
Oh yeah. You got to walk the site. You got to see what they're doing, and then you draw up a plan in order to.
Yeah, I'm gonna be training. I'm gonna be doing training overseas.
Yeah, well, hell, if you're doing training, man, like I said, you need to be in the Philippines, man.
Yeah, I'm in the U.S. right now.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as virtual assistants and all that, customer service is one of the biggest things out here. Virtual assisting, because of their English as being one of their first languages. And then the income requirements to pay them is just ridiculously low for overhead. So, a lot of guys are paying for virtual. I think Fearless has one or two virtual assistants helping him with things while he's even working a full-time cybersecurity job with Toyota. You know.
Oh, okay. But
Oh, we're specifically 12 hours ahead of East Coast time. There is no daylight savings time here in the Philippines, so pretty much when they fall back, you're still on the same time zone. So instead of it be 12 for 12, it'll be 13 to 12.
yeah,
You know.
and that's crazy trying to do that, because that's just you working. It's like the day operating in the day, you got to be up at night. That's just
You're up at night, yeah.
Yeah, that's just I can't do night shift. I'm sorry.
If I'm making money, I don't care what time it is. I can go right back to bed. I'm punching my own clock.
Yeah, I'm done with night shift stuff, man. I had enough of that. You know, I'm just done.
Yeah, I tell my mom all the time. It's like, look, you either call me first thing in the morning for you would be afternoon, early evening for me, or you call me at night, which is morning for me. Don't call me during the middle of the day because you have an epiphany and you want to say something. I'm sleeping. It's 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. I mean, it's just I just can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
that's why I like Mexico.
Patriots. Yeah, you could do that here, man. I mean, if you're trying to find a nice one, you can get into the call center areas here in Cebu and Manila, and they'll be coming off their little night shift and pretty much taking the breakfast and being about your business for the rest of the day while they're sleeping.
Yeah, but I can't do a schedule like that, man. I've done it so much, man. It's just I can't do it anymore. I got to do like a regular 9 to 5. That's why I like Mexico. Even if I was able to do it, like do something remotely out of Mexico, that would be great, because it's only like I'm looking at 2-hour time difference at most, 2 to 3 hour time difference, which is great. Which is great with me. Especially where I'm at here in the United States. But yeah, Europe will do that too. 6 hours. Yeah, that's the thing with working remote. And like I said, that was going to be the original show, the whole digital nomad thing, because a lot of people saying a lot of them ain't broke. Even doing this YouTube stuff, it's it's not as profitable.
Yeah, but even doing YouTube, listen, if you're not on some kind of affiliate marketing kick where inside of your links you got all kind of sponsorships or affiliate links, or you're not being sponsored by somebody, most of these guys are not doing the thing where they're booking their flights, they're looking at their travel time, their hotels, and all this, and they're writing it against their losses or their gains against their YouTube AdSense. They're not doing it right as a business.
Yeah, because this is what it is. It's a business, however you look at it. Some of them not even writing it off on their taxes as a business.
Exactly.
And
the greatest thing about being abroad is, guess what? If you do find that digital nomad, if you do find that way of earning an income, your first 130K is off the top, no taxes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're out of the country more than 10 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So you don't pay taxation on 130K of your money.
Yeah.
For being out of the country. So that's another benefit for y'all that are listening.
Yeah, but when you're not making as much and you're spending most of your time, that's why I say about residency, you have a home base.
Oh, yeah.
You have a home base. So you can go and just, hey, I got a residency card. This is home base for me for X amount of time. You may have to pay their taxes. I don't know, but at least for the United States, you ain't got to pay their taxes. But
Philippines, you don't pay any of their tax unless you're doing work here, like meaning you're working for something in their country. But if you're still making U.S. dollars outside of their country, they don't tax you on your money.
Oh,
you got to be doing something here locally with their people to be taxed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paraguay. Okay.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's a cool thing. I got to keep
They
that
don't
in
touch your
mind.
money.
Yeah, that's another thing that makes you want to go get that visa and stuff like that for the Philippines. That's another one. Oh wow, I didn't think of that's cool. That's really really cool. And see, and that's what y'all got to look at. See, a lot of these guys talking about Brazil. Brazil will tax the crap out of you. They'll tax you out globally. That's one place everybody talking about going to. They got infrastructure issues. They got crime issues.
I can see countries like that being desperate to take any kind of foreigners' money. Here, like I was telling people during my life, is one of the biggest foreign imports for the Philippines, beside for what they export, is remit to money, because they have a huge foreign overseas worker program, from nursing to service industries and different things like that. There's so many Filipinos outside of the country working and making those international dollars, sending money back in. It's actually a line item on the national GDP.
Oh really?
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Oh yeah. Big time money comes in from outside of the country from Filipinos that are working foreign overseas. I mean, they even celebrate their foreign overseas workers. They have like union type things going on with foreign overseas workers.
Wow, that is interesting. I
Yeah,
never knew
it's
that.
huge money. But it's one of the most difficult places to get a Filipino out of the country. The immigration department is sick tight when it comes to letting females or Filipinos out of the country,
Wow.
because they've been abused in so many places. Like I know in China, they abuse their Filipino like housekeepers and stuff, where they lock them in rooms and all kind of nightmare stories. So it's real difficult for a Filipino to leave, because they want to make sure they're not being put in a situation where they could be taken advantage of or jeopardized.
Okay.
So when they're being asked to, when they're questioned, they can actually hold them back from leaving. I know too many married Philippine guys that are married to Filipinos that literally they have their tickets, they have their kids, they have the Filipina, and they're about to leave, and immigration for whatever reason says she can't go.
Yeah.
So they have to cancel everything. So when you buy tickets and you want to go, like we're going to go to Japan, I got to buy insurance just in case they turn around and say, no, she can't leave.
Yeah. And this is the thing, and any patriot just said, Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
they're known for
Big time. Yeah. A lot of these countries
big time.
abuse them. So that's why they're so strict with immigration getting out.
Yeah, they're huge, big time for that. So I don't do Middle Eastern stuff anymore and stuff like that. And it's not because of the wars, because I know they set people up,
How they
especially.
look down at people. Yeah. I mean, even when we did the Gulf War, not Beirut, Kuwait. Kuwait's army is pretty much mercenaries. They don't fight for themselves. They hire people to come fight, and then they might be officers in their own military. Their service industry is full of foreigners. They don't serve themselves. They have other people serve them. That's why after the Gulf War, originally with Blackwater and some of these other companies, you were being given and offered $250,000 to $500,000 a year to go over there and work and put that country back together. They weren't going to do it for themselves.
Yeah. Because when they're making all that money, why am I going to do this dirty work?
Yeah.
I'll just hire someone else to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but that was going to be the story I was going to do today. But I thought this travel crisis is just going to get crazy. And what are the flights prices over in the Philippines? How expensive are they now with this whole oil thing?
I mean, locally, some of the airlines cut down on their flights out or flights to certain locations. Like here, they have 2 flights a day that used to come in and still come in. They have one Cebu airline flight that flies into the town, and one Philippines flight that comes in the town once a day and fly out. So if you're catching flight in, you're going to catch one of those 2 airlines. And if you're flying out, whatever those time frames are, or those 2 planes landing, those are the times you can leave. Other than that, it's about, what is it, 10, 15 hour bus ride? Babe, what's the bus time to the Manila from here? 8 hours.
8 hours? Oh, wow.
8 hour bus ride from here if you take a bus, or a 50-minute flight. So you tell me. And the flights here are like $75 one way. So they're dirt cheap. It's like I was saying all my life, it's like Airbus. You know how some people used to commute in America, they would just catch a flight out, and then either they would fly back the same day, or they would that evening, or they would just go ahead and have a temporary location they stay at maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and fly back maybe a couple days after, stay home for a while, and then fly back the next day. You know,
Yeah.
it's cheaper to do it that way. Instead of driving and getting stuck in traffic, especially in LA. Traffic is ridiculous. That $75 flight is well worth sitting in traffic for 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man, that's crazy. So it's this whole oil thing is really affecting global markets. I mean, have you seen the prices go up in the Philippines?
To us, that's not a big deal for us, but for them, it went from 58 pesos per liter, which is basically for us, it's 61.41 pesos per $1. So it's about $1, maybe a little less than $1. And it went up to 152 pesos per dollar. I mean, per liter, which is $1.75, maybe $2 here.
Yeah, so that's
But that's a lot of money to somebody.
significant.
Right, that's a lot of money to a Filipino that's only making $300 to $500 a month. And so a couple gas stations might have closed in this town because it's a smaller town, because they knew they weren't going to get the influx of their customers. So it would just been gasoline just sitting there dormant, not being used. So I guess they went ahead and allowed their tanks to empty out, and they just didn't pay for the refill. But since that, the Filipino government declared a national emergency immediately because they're getting their oil directly from Iran. But they secured within a week. It was funny how it happened. Within a week of this whole situation breaking out, there was another offshore oil well that just hit, which going to bring up production for them. Then they secured 2.9 million barrels of oil coming straight from Russia. I don't know why they're doing all these deals for countries that are kind of like questionable. And then a couple weeks after that, Iran went ahead and did a 1-for-1 deal with Philippines directly, and they were going to get their oil allowed to come over to the Philippines. And even with the blockade, you know how we do. We'll search the ship to make sure there's no weapons going in and out or whatever, and they'll release the ship to go where it's going. And if they know it's going to the Philippines, no naval ship is going to stop them from coming here.
Yeah.
You know, because they port here. They already know what the deal is. So, you know, they're unbothered now. So it's starting to get back to normal. Let's put it that way. There was a little bit of a scare. People were going and buying things from the grocery store, like you would see during a pandemic or something. People were buying out, you know, grocery stores where they were emptying, but that stopped.
Yeah,
like within
and they're doing that here too. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
you got to stock up on this and stock up on that.
Mhm.
To me, it's a scare tactic.
Yeah.
But and like I said, this is why I tell people you need to seriously think about that second residency. I'm serious, or another place to go.
Yeah. And like I was telling everybody, I plan on buying in Texas. We're going to build something there, and like farm type of land in a rural area. And then after she gets established with her green card or whatever we're doing, because I think that's a 3-year process. No matter what, she can't travel. Then we're going to turn around and flip and come right back here and build here.
Okay, so
So then our secondary spot would be back and forth between here and America, back and forth between the two properties.
Yeah. Well,
But I'm buying in America first. No taxation, and I own it. Here, by the time we buy, we'll have children, so legacy still transfers over to that.
Yeah, my goal is pretty much is get situated down in Mexico and see what that's going to bring out, whatever town I'm going to be in, and then if I decide to have something up here, then I'll probably get something up here, so I can just be swinging between both.
So the big question is, are you planning on having kids there, Mr. Scrabble?
I probably will, one or two. But I don't know if, because like I said, it's getting expensive over here in the United States, and that's the thing. You know, with housing and stuff, I got to see how this business is going to rock. If this business rocks, then yeah, I am going to possibly get something here. If it's not, then it's just pretty much going to be Mexico. Because the thing is, when you look at Mexico, you got starting to see a lot of black expats moving to Mexico, and they're living off their SSI. They're doing fabulous.
Yeah.
Which is what they should be doing. And you're hearing that not just here, but you're also hearing in Thailand, you're hearing in the Philippines.
Yeah.
They're doing fabulous, and that's the way it should be in the United States, but it's not.
Well, so it's not in the bigger cities, and I keep telling people all the time, and I think even Frontier Financial Frontier, he says the same thing, 020. It's we want to live in the bigger cities because of all the hoopla and everything around it, but if you live out in the rural areas, like places where I lived at in Kansas and Missouri, you can get a starter home for maybe $60,000 to $80,000. It's not the biggest house in the world. It's on a plot of land that you can develop or redevelop. It's a ranch style home or whatever. It might be built in the 1930s or 40s, but it's a starter home that you can build out. You know, but everybody wants that newest, latest, greatest big fucking brick house and all this other bullshit like it's your final home. The starter home, that's what they call them. Not your last and final.
Yeah, you got people living off the grid in Arizona. I mean, out in the desert, dog. Out in the desert.
Even before I left, out in the Woodlands area, which is about 50 miles outside of Houston where I was, they were selling anywhere from 2 acres to 3 acres of land for $78K. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You can't find no affordable land. No, you motherfuckers are lazy. You want to be closer to all that shit.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that makes me want to go to Texas.
Especially and Fearless says that's unaffordable, but it's actually pretty reasonable. Starting homes are about $300,000 to $450K in Dallas, and he lives in a nice area. And they're about $400K or more. And he's like, well, that's not a cost effective. More cost effective than you think. You know, I wouldn't even think of buying a home that was less than $250 initially, especially coming out of California. I lived in California for 30 plus years. Think of how much it costs there.
Oh.
Unless you're living out in a rural area like Riverside or San Bernardino County, places like that.
Yeah,
it's astronomical.
Exactly, and you know, it's and then when you start adding, I mean, you're looking at that's just the price. We haven't even added in
right
the whole taxes and all this other stuff.
And the thing he doesn't realize is I started off in California, so most of my advice, my financial advice, because I'm a fiduciary, was telling my older clients once their kids moved out of that 4 or 5 bedroom homes. These are millennials or in later year generations. I said, you're never going to have all your kids back in this house ever again. Why are you holding on to this thing? It's $700 plus $1,000 for the house. Sell the home. It's your nest egg anyway. Go down south, Texas or somewhere like that. Buy a house that's maybe $300,000 or $400,000. It's the same goddamn size. Put the rest and live off the interest. Put in an investment. Plus your retirement and everything else. You don't have to stress anymore. That was part of my advice. And then I got Fearless, who's in Dallas, talking about it's expensive. Man, you have no idea where I came from. That ain't shit.
Yeah, I'll tell you straight up. I got rich people over here. They downgrading. They used
you don't need that size of a house. The point of you buying a house back in the day was it was your nest egg, or it was the legacy home that was going to be passed down through a trust or whatever. But if it's not that, and it was something you bought initially as an investment, use it as that. People buy things and they get attached to it like it's a child or something they can't let go. And then by the time they want to let go, they're already fucking behind or in trouble where they can't let it go and get what the value is out of it.
Yeah.
The first thing I learned in business was never buy or start a business you can't get out of it with the right offer. Let somebody else grow that shit. You grew it to a certain point, you get stagnant or bored with it, sell that bitch.
Yeah. And that's what I'm telling people, if you're going to relocate and stuff like that, you got to think about what you're getting and stuff. For me, do I need a big house? No. I can do cool with a villa. Even if I decide to get, have a family and stuff like that, 2-bedroom villa, I'm good.
Right. But even if you, like I said, you bought a starter home that maybe has sitting on a 3/4 acre lot, that's a lot of fucking land with a little bitty house on it. Who's to say you can't build up off of that house or on a separate part on the back side of that 1 3/4 acre lot, you start building a whole brand new house, and then eventually you knock out the house that's forward or you lease that shit out.
You can grow that house.
Right.
Exactly. That's how.
But everybody wants a finished fucking product. They don't want to work and do any of the growing themselves. They don't want to feel that growing pain. They want turnkey.
Yeah, but nowadays it's unaffordable. Not with the interest rates, and taxes, and all that stuff. It's, and I kind of get where Phyllis is saying and stuff like that. But it's when you start adding in the other stuff, it just becomes, oh God, you got to be kidding me.
I mean, he has a big, beautiful home and it's in a nice area. I've been to his house, but whoo! I mean, if that's not going to be your permanent home, and him and his wife have talked about going back to DR and him doing like the digital nomad thing and setting up his own private business because he's in cybersecurity like you. He doesn't necessarily have to keep working, but why not get your 20 years in when you can? And then do something on the side. I'm never going to stop working. I'm always looking at side hustles and income streams, even at my position. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm always looking at ways of having extra money come in, but I'm not dying to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, that's the thing. It's like doing it here is just going to be expensive. I'd rather just go to another country and do it.
Yeah. And that's the point of me being here while I'm doing this with my future wife and everything. I'm also developing income streams. So by the time I go back to buy, it's not about money. It's about finding something we like to build at. She wants to have a little farmland. She loves growing. She's a country girl here. She does those same things. She did pigs, the chickens, the cattle, the farmland. She did all that. So me going back to America, she still wants that same lifestyle. We don't have to be in the city.
Yeah, I feel you. It's just like me, I want to be by the ocean. I want to chill, want to relax. I want my own place, but I don't need something big, something just cozy and stuff like that. I'm cool with, but like I said, everybody, you see these travel crises happening and stuff. I got to make a decision, man. Just traveling back and forth like these are doing on YouTube. You got a question coming up.
Yeah. It depends on what you think is a good girl. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of what do you call phone banks or customer service related phone service companies in the Manila, Cebu area. There's a lot of colleges. A lot of the students that are there are coming from outside traditional homes in the province. Province areas have the same thing. They're not into the city life so much, but in every province, they still have a little walking street / type of place where my lady even calls them walkers, like the Walking Dead. She calls the streetwalkers walkers.
Damn.
But they still have little areas like that. But the moral part is where you can find really good people here in the Philippines that still have the Roman Catholic, stay in the family values, and all those things here. You still can find that out in the province more so. But you still have to look at the person's mindset, whether they're easily influenced by social norms or social media versus if they stay with their traditional values. And whether those traditional values are being forced upon them by their parents. So the minute they get away from their parents, they're going to go and be 100% rebellious off of what they were being taught. They rage against it like a PK would, a preacher's kid would against their own parents when they leave the nest. You know what I'm saying? So the whole mindset you got to look at when you start evaluating, Filipinos as far as for marriage and where they grew up at and what type of mentality. There's plenty of guys that are online. Sunshine Shoulders will tell you everything. I'll say one thing. There's another guy named It's Me. His name's Corey. He's married to a Filipino, but he met his Filipino while she was in Chicago. He was a cop and also a Marine. He stayed there for a while. He retired. He got his money together to where he came back here. They have a house. Her parents, they have their own businesses with multiple cars and all this other stuff. So she came from a background where they weren't starving for money and they didn't act like that. So again, it's all based on who the environment of that Filipino or Filipina, if it's a female listening, environment they grew up in, and whether they hold to those traditional values or they're easily influenced by social media and what's going on in the world.
I hate when people say it's going to be expensive for me to do that here. America is expensive. Leaving America doesn't make it easy. It just moves the goalposts.
Correct. It does. I mean, truly, because you have different hurdles. In America, you're kind of comfortable with everything. And I say sometimes we are spoiled in the nature of all the advantages we have. You know this too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and we don't appreciate, obviously, if we're fighting to get out, so many other countries are still fighting to get in. No matter what they see is going on in America, it's still better than what they have.
Oh, absolutely.
So where it sounds like a lot of people don't appreciate America and don't appreciate the values and the advantages, services, and all those other things that are available in America, you're right. It does seem like, it's basically the same. It's just different software. And it's the same thing with the women. It's different software.
Yeah.
They can still be corrupted. They're still easily influenced. They're not influenced by social media and global norms as far as dating and all these other things. It's just whether they fight against those things or they fall in line with following along with the leader.
Yeah. And, and it makes sense because no matter where you're going to go, you're not going to get the type of education and training and stuff like that and opportunities like you're going to get in America, like me starting my own business and stuff like that. You're not going to get that. You're going to have to come here, that money, and make as much as you can. And then if you want to go overseas, have everything banked up and saved and all that stuff, then make that move. You're not going to get that anywhere.
And that's the first thing people say. Well, why are you coming back? Why would you bring her back? I mean, you're got all. No, all the advantages are in America. I'm never going to say it's not. It's nice to be here. I'm still giving up a lot of my creature comforts for being here because it's not America. I'm spoiled. I'm bougie in some ways. I want certain things done a certain way, and I like it, and I'm comfortable. I'm 58 years old. I'm set in my ways. There's certain things I love about the Philippines, and there's certain things I want. I can't wait to get back to America. So no, I'm not going to let that stop me from coming back. But some guys will be in the mentality. To me, sometimes that could be a scarcity mindset and a lack of trust in a person or the society that is influencing that person that they're married to, meaning they feel maybe they're easily influenced and they're going to take advantage of the laws that are available in America versus, the laws that may be available in their own country. Like here in the Philippines, there is no divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You're married for life. You can barely get an annulment after 4 years, and the judge will still look at you after you spent over 5,000 US and tell you no, you can't get divorced.
Yeah. I'm not saying that moving abroad isn't good. It just seems like that people aren't into the grind and they're looking for instant gratification because other places are cheaper. That I totally agree with, because you see that with the YouTubers, because they sit here and they make excuses saying that, well, I'm leaving the country, because of mass shootings and crime and stuff, but you're moving to Medellin, Colombia, where they just had a whole bunch of stuff that you only see in Afghanistan and Iraq. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Make that make sense. And
it doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. Or they're saying,
or guys leaving and going out in the hood just to say, hey, I can go hang in the hood. Man, I don't go on vacation to go hang out where I might have grew up and got advantage to where I left those areas. Why would I want to go back just to see it? That's not my idea of fun.
Exactly. Why I want to go on vacation to go to someone else's hood, like the favelas and stuff like that. I see these dudes, oh yeah, we up in the favelas, we up in the hood. Why? That's not something I would be anxious to go to because we know it's crime ridden.
Right.
This doesn't
And
make
he's
any
not,
sense, man.
yeah, Loki is absolutely right. Even on his next comment, some of the largest expat communities aren't even usually discussed. Again, we are our own monolith. Listen, there's only 12% of the population of America that are Black Americans, let alone Black FBA Americans versus some immigrant variation of Black American. Then you got to look at the ones that actually have passports that travel, male and female, and then where they go. You're right. What is accented are places where people are more comfortable. And if you notice, a lot of Black travelers go to Black areas of other countries. What the fuck are you doing? If you're that comfortable with Black people, then why aren't you staying in America? There's plenty of Black people in America. The second largest population of Black people is where? Brazil, aside for Africa itself.
Exactly. It's like Mexico. They do have Black expat communities, and they generally just talk about how they talk about Mexico. They don't talk about as it is a hood. They talk about how to move down here. The benefits of moving down here and all that stuff. Because I have a couple of them on my feed and stuff like that, and I listen to them. And these are the Black expats that are down there. They're older and more mature, not like the ones we usually see. That's Black travel space.
And the funny thing is, I have cousins in Canada and I have cousins in Germany. So out of those places, I even have family that's already in Germany and also Canada.
Yeah, but he's right. You don't see none from Canada.
No.
In Spain or stuff.
But again, a lot of those guys are low key. They're not out to put out information. The ones that are online, the ones that are sitting here with YouTube channels are there for clicks and views and to sensationalize the limited travel areas that they go to. And that's why even with me being here, and I just went over my 1 year anniversary here, May 6th, I barely put out any content. But what for what? So many people from white to Black Americans and foreigners have done every potential travel area I could go to and done every great content piece they could have ever done on the Chocolate Mountains, this, that, and the other, Palawan, any place I could have gone to. Somebody's already done that content. All I'm doing is redoing it in my own way. Why am I doing that? For what reason?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people are like that. They'll go places and they don't want to put that shit out online.
Yeah, it's like my last trip to Mexico. I was going to do a live. I canceled it. I didn't do it because it's like, you know what? I'm getting sick and tired. I already did Polanco because I was there the year before and I put out something on that. I kind of did one on Instagram, a quick one while I was walking around, but I didn't really. My last trip, I really didn't do something for YouTube for Mexico because it was like, I want to just be me and stuff and not constantly record all my travels and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not worried about putting out content to make money and none of that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Well, I got to break out a camera and I got to film this. Like we're giving to go to some dam. That might be the first place I film anything after a year being here. It's some dam that they have that they use for processing because this is the area where they have the plateau hillsides with the rice paddies and everything. There's an area where that does this. And then they used to have one of the oldest tattoo artists here, but I think her family moved her. But she's up in the mountains where the Etta people are. And my lady is good friends with that tribe of people. And we were going to go up and do some filming there. And I was going to have the tattoo lady give me a tattoo while I interviewed her. But they left or she moved somewhere else. Like her grandma just moved to Palawan. Some of the family might be in a different part of the country and they'll just move their older relatives to that area to where it's more accommodating instead of that old person living by themselves. Again, family. You know what I mean?
Like my trip to Thailand, I was going to plan to do is be at a Muay Thai training camp and just kind of go through the experience of doing that, not this whole nightlife stuff, because that's all people are going to see Thailand as is for the CD lifestyle. But there's more to Thailand than that.
Right.
Black guys go down there to, to do the whole Muay Thai thing, whether they want to lose weight or they want to actually be professional fighters or whatever and stuff like that. And that's the thing. It's just a lot of these content creators, mostly it's just to show off. Oh, look at me, I'm over here. Anybody can. Traveling is not a flex, bro. It really isn't. Anybody can travel, but it's like you're wasting your time. All these dudes are wasting their time traveling. What are they saving up this towards the future? What are they doing? Like, we're in a crisis.
Or if it's a business, that's great. Then let's see your sponsors, your affiliates. Write that shit off on the back end. Stop e-begging, because you get it off on your taxes based on what you invested. If you didn't get a rate of return based on how much you spent on your outlay against your YouTube algorithm or your AdSense, you can write that off on your taxes. You don't need to beg for any money.
Yeah, but everybody's e-begging and stuff like that.
Well,
I mean, if I was monetized, I would make this a business and stuff like that. But I'm not monetized, and I'm just getting ready to launch my second channel and stuff like that. And I'm waiting for that to get monetized and stuff like that. And then I'll probably make a business out of that, because I'm going to do some interesting stuff. I'm working on getting my drone license and stuff, because I'm going to start integrating music and actual drone footage and stuff. So it's entertaining and stuff. But like I said, it's all about me. Hey, look at me. I'm with these chicas and all this other stuff. Yo, dude, it's old. Right now we're in a crisis. Everybody wants to know how to get out of here. Everybody don't have $250,000 to go get a golden visa. What's the cheapest way to get out of here? I need something quick, because I may not be able to survive here. This is what this channel is doing. I'm showing you the cheapest way to get out of here. I'm showing you what's going on in the world, so you can survive. But a lot of these dudes ain't interested in that stuff. They want to just listen to these other YouTubers thinking they got it like that, and everybody want to go follow the leader. Hey, I watched the video. Hey, I brought this Brazilian girl back to my place. Like, that's something big.
Yeah, Fearless's wife is live. That's just like real life. She's talking about dating in American culture.
Yeah, it's dating. I mean, that's the whole thing. We got a travel crisis. How are we going to, deal with this stuff? Now we're not even going to have money to travel, and everybody's donating to dudes just e-begging and stuff like that. And I ain't got the money to be donating to people. I don't even donate to my favorites anymore. It's not because I hate them. It's just because I ain't got the cash.
Yeah.
I just don't. I love them, and they don't do any of that crazy stuff, that we usually see, but I just can't donate to them because
you got your own game you're trying to run. You can't always be keeping up with everybody else and they sitting still. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We didn't see from a travel guide because social media didn't really exist. There was an art and joy of traveling that I missed. Yeah, there is an art to this thing, man.
Yeah. I mean, even when I come back, I think that's the most I'll be doing is traveling around the country, showing her and living through her eyes of experiencing America for her first time.
That would be cool. That's awesome.
So she'll probably be featured in some of those as far as the interaction of her actually getting to experience things that she read about for years living here. Her first flight anywhere was into Manila to go to BGC like in February.
Yeah, BGC.
Right.
That sounds awesome. And hopefully, like I said, when I get over there, that's why I'm getting my drone license, because I want to be able to travel and do some drone footage and stuff with some of these places, because that's something that these dudes can do, and just seeing scenery and stuff like that, the beauty of it. We don't see that with these YouTube travelers, and that's what makes it like boring. And I try to do something different rather than this old, hey, look at me. I'm not that. I want to give you guys information so you guys can do shit. But
yeah,
anyway,
I just picked up the DJI 5 Mini 5 Pro.
How is that?
I have not flown it, man. As a matter of fact, like I said, this first little trip to the dam will be the first time I fly it. But I got it sitting here on my desk. Let me power up my camera real quick, and I'll flip it up so you can see it.
I'm thinking about getting the Neo too.
But I bought the one with the extra batteries and all the extra gear.
Mm-hmm.
Light real quick. Nope. You said it. But this one, the reason I brought it was is just underweight U.S. standard for the FAA. So supposedly they certified it. You don't have to have the license to fly it. So I went ahead
But
and
if
brought
you're
it.
doing commercial thing, if it's a commercial that even if you're doing it for YouTube,
Yeah.
if it's commercial, you have to if you're gonna get monetized and stuff, it's considered commercial and you're gonna have to get that license.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of still studying it either way. But that's my right there.
That's nice.
You know, I bought the case separately, but I mean, this is everything that came in the package I got for the Mini Pro.
Sweet. Thinking about getting that, but I was gonna get the Neo because I kind of like put out. Like I said, I want to do some more footage and stuff, like flyovers and stuff like that. But outside of that, man, let me just wrap this up, man. But thanks for popping on, bro.
Oh, no problem, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah. I was gonna do one on international dating, but I'm not gonna go down that road.
Hey, you might as well get on your Neil's channel right now because that's what she damn near talking about. But just specifically,
I might do that. I might do that show because, like I said, too many of these dudes. I got a whole bunch of YouTubers giving like these advice, and they want to charge people. I was gonna do one for free. It's like
me and we just talked about it on a live, but me and Andre crossing borders because he saw my 1 year. He wants to do a collab and do Colombia versus Philippines, not only just on the income basis, but also on the lifestyle or whatever, how similar they could or could not be based on where you're at. The mentality would be Colombia is what, pay for play, but he's very religious. He's a Christian, so his idea would be the comparison between the moral aspects, and both of them are Catholic-based countries.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean? So they're kind of evenly matched if you really think about it. So I think people will be surprised with the comparison.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that would be an interesting collab and stuff like that. That would be worth watching, though. Definitely. But anyway, let me bounce out of here, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and back out. Let you close out. I'll see you later.
I'll catch you guys later, and thank you everybody for coming, bro. I greatly appreciate you guys. I will catch up with you guys later. Hit the like button as you go out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Greatly appreciate it. We got more stuff coming down the pipeline. If you guys want me to do the one on international dating, please, I may crash out on that one, but I'll give you dating advice for free. I don't charge nobody no money for that, man. Trust me, man. Pooh, man, always a pleasure having you, brother. All right. I'll catch you guys later.